Hi, so this video today is a dynamic sequence including some of the things we've been working on in my dynamic classes in the last 6 weeks or so, including lots of hip flexion and hip extension, and the key pose we're going to end up with is a warrior 3 as well as lots of other things. So we're just going to do 1 or 2 lying down warm-ups, specifically bringing our attention to our hip flexors, which is that groin area there. It's the iliopsoas muscle in particular, but we're just learning to kind of feel those muscles when they contract and when they lengthen. So we're going to lie down, and we're also going to work today with poses where we want to maintain neutral spine, so we're not letting the spine round and flex, we're keeping it in its natural curves. So you can start by putting one hand under your lower back. You'll feel that part of your lower back that's a bit lighter on the floor where your natural inward curve is. So we're going to maintain that and not let that change, and then lift the legs up so your knees are pulling in towards you. So try not to let the rib cage flare up or the lower back end up pressing into the mat more, keeping all of this still, and then just reach one leg out. The heel can touch the ground and pull the top knee in towards you. So you start to feel the contraction in the hip flexor there. So you're just feeling that. And then swap over. And just notice again, you're not letting the back change, and you're pulling the knee in towards your chest, feeling the hip flexor fire up. So just do that a couple of times. You can try it with your foot relaxed, and then you can try it with the foot flexed and see how that feels different. Okay, and then we'll do both knees together, maintaining neutral spine so the lower back is light on the mat, and then see how it feels to straighten your legs a little bit and then pull the knees back in towards you, but without letting the lower back flatten down into the mat. Okay, so I can feel my hip flexors by now, they're getting warm. I can really be more conscious of that contraction as my knees pull into my chest. So I hope you're feeling that too. Okay, and then relax your feet down, do a little windshield wipers. Okay, so just one more movement to warm up the hips. We're going to do a hip rotation. So one leg is straight. I'll start with this side so you can see. I'm just going to hold my hand there. I'm trying to keep this side of my body still and down towards the mat, and then bend the other knee in. And then I'm just going to start to take the knee out to the side, trying not to let this side tip over with me. Easier said than done. So I'm not going to go too far with my knee. I'm just going to make sure I'm keeping neutral spine as much as possible. I can feel there's a bit of a tip. And then make a circle, pull the knee back in towards you. So you're controlling that movement out to the side, your bum muscles kick in, the inner thigh's working, that hip crease is working, and then circle round. So as you pull in, your thigh bone is in neutral or internally rotated a bit. You take it into external rotation and then back into internal rotation. So if these feel really useful and helpful, you can go both directions as well. But we'll just do that amount today and then do the other side. So I'm putting my knee up towards my chest, out to the side without a tip. This side's much easier for me. Knee goes down, back in and up. Trying to engage lots of muscles around the hip joint so you can feel your bum, your inner thigh and the hip flexors all working. You might hear a few clunks and clicks, so just noticing where your hip joint feels like it has good control. Okay, and then again just let your legs relax for a minute. Then we're going to come up to all fours and just getting used to this position. Do the exhale back into towards child's pose, inhaling back up to all fours. Just do that a few times. So we're just finding rhythm with our breath and getting used to the all fours position. Okay, and I'm presuming you've done some warm-ups, but we'll just do a couple of cat-cows. Just feeling that pelvic control, that you can tilt it back and forth with nothing else moving. Just a few of those. You can do them a little bit slower than this. And then just go all the way into your cat-cow. So just loosening up the spine. Starting from the pelvis, roll through. And just enjoying that feeling of that wave through your body. Okay, neutral spine again. So remember, for neutral spine, we're watching the head isn't dropping, the shoulders aren't dropping, the lower back isn't dropping. It feels like you're in a straight line, even though you still have the natural curves in your spine. So finding neutral spine, now we're going to isolate the shoulder blades and just make a few circles. So we're watching that the lower back doesn't join in like that. Everything is staying still. The head is in line. And go slowly enough to squeeze your shoulders up to your ears as much as possible. Drop the spine down between the shoulder blades. Pull the shoulder blades down your back. Push the mat away again. So we get lots of warming up movement in the upper back as possible. Okay, and then take your knees a little bit wider and just rotate to the side with your right knee. And pull back as much as feels comfortable. So it might be all the way back into a half kneel, half squat. So again, we're just warming up the hips and coming back, do the same to the other side. It might just be a little bit of a pull back. Might be one side is different than the other. Just seeing how that goes. Okay. And then from there, we're going to come into a forward bend from down dog. So you can take your hands further forward, come into your down dog, pedal your legs, and walk to your forward bend. Nice knee bend, enough to let the spine flow forward so that you can relax your neck. Just move your neck around a little bit. Let the neck spine release. Okay, and then from there, just pick up your left leg. Do the little bends on the standing leg that we do to connect the ankle, knee and hip. Feel all the muscles around your hip. And then step on back. I'm just going to grab my blanket here for the knees. And come into the lunge position. And we'll inhale the arms up. Do a little tip to the side. Just breathing into your side ribs. Come all the way back up with both arms. Squeezing your bum, tilting the pelvis a little bit, hip bones up, so we get the hip extension, that nice stretch down through the back leg. And then exhale your fingertips down. Inhale the back knee up, and rock a little bit, and hop back forward and fold. Other side, pick up your right leg bend and straighten. Step back. Up. Just moving your hip around a little bit, making a circle with your knee. And then inhale, reaching up. Taking a couple of breaths there, squeezing the bum and tilting the pelvis up. You find that nice sideways breath into the rib cage. And then exhale, do a little tip to the side. So as you feel that hip extension down the back thigh, it's going all the way up in towards the shoulder and the hand. Inhale, both arms up again. Exhale, forward hands to the floor. Pick up your back knee and just do a little bit of rocking. So all this just helps to warm up all the legs, gets lots of movement. And then hopping forward, back to your forward bend and fold. Inhale, come up, reach your arms up above your head. And exhale, find that lovely grounding into the soles of your feet with the exhale. Inhale, reaching the arms up again. Exhale, fold forward, take your head down. Inhale, look forward. Exhale, step both your legs back. Find your down dog pose. And then from there, we're just going to do the movement into plank and back to down dog. So exhale into your plank. Pause for a moment there. You can do the first one on your knees if that's helpful. So you're rolling your arms out a little bit. Pull the shoulder blades down your back. Push your mat away with your hands. So you find that strength in your plank. And then start to lower your knees towards the mat. Pull your hips all the way back. And go back towards your down dog. However much you like to straighten your legs. You don't need to completely, of course. And then we'll repeat that. So exhale to plank. Pause to find your strength in the plank. Let the knees start to lower down, maintaining the line of your plank. which is neutral spine with the head all the way to the pelvis. Pull back and stretch out. Okay, on the third one we're going to lower down, so exhaling to your plank, finding the strength in the upper body, drop to your knees, and then we'll lower all the way down, pulling the hands to the knees, shoulder blades down the back, so your hips and chest touch down at the same time. Okay, roll the legs in, press your pubic bone down, that posterior tilt. Inhale, lift the chest and the legs, pulling your hands to your waist. A couple of breaths there. You can hold it or you can come up and down a few times if that feels easier. So just coming down, resetting, coming back up. And then exhale the feet down, bending your knees, push back to down dog. A little bit of a pedal again, and then drop down onto your knees, find all fours. Okay, so we're finding neutral spine again. This time we're going to tuck the toes under, roll the arms out, pull your shoulder blades down your back, push the mat away, and then pick your knees up off the floor and do the little hover. So you can find a bit of softness to the elbows and just see how it feels to hold that and notice, do you start to sag in your shoulders? Do you start to drop your lower back? So maintain it for as long as you can without any of that happening, and then bring your knees back down. You can always have a child's pose there, whatever feels good. And then we're going to start to focus on the hip flexion movement. So picking your right leg up, I'm going to just start to pull the leg behind without letting the lower back join in or the hips lift. So you're trying to keep your hips even, your lower back neutral, and then how high can you lift that back knee up? So we're not dipping, just lifting up as high as we can. And then start to pull your knee in towards your chest. Again, same thing, we're not rounding, we're keeping the back neutral, pull the knee in. And just do that a few times. And you can point your toe or just let the foot be relaxed, but you're trying to pull your calf and the back of your thigh towards each other. And then you'll feel your hamstrings really firing up as well. As you pull your knee in, you're feeling the hip flexor, the hip groin area firm, and as you pull the leg back, you're going into hip extension, then you feel the back of the bum and the hamstring working. Okay, we're going to do one more. And then this time tuck your other toes under and pick that back knee up. Move back towards a down dog. So as far as you want, you can bend the knee or have the foot down and then lower down again. So finding this requires then a little bit more strength through the torso and your shoulders. So try that 3 times. And we can go up and take that back leg up, squeezing the bum and the hamstring again. Let's do one more, taking the back leg up. Taking it up behind you. And then walk your hands in towards your foot. Have a little bend in your standing leg, spreading your toes, and then start to look along the floor in front of you to come all the way up, putting that knee up as high as you can. We're going to keep the foot relaxed, and then notice your back. It may want to curl a little bit, so as much as you can, lifting up and finding that natural little inwards curve to your lower back. Breathing there, take the knee a little bit out to the side and back. So you're seeing how the hip joint feels a little bit more out to the side. Where is it most comfortable? Do you feel a difference? So feeling your hip joint. And then we're going to go back the way we came with control. So again, have a little bend in your standing knee. Take your hands all the way down. Walk your hands forward. And then you're back in your down dog. We're going to take the leg up and turn to the side. Reach that leg up, circle your ankle a little bit, and then from there drop down to your knees, and we'll do the other side. Okay, so all fours, picking up the left leg, going into hip extension, squeezing the calf and the thigh, back of the thigh towards each other. Pulling the knee in as high as you can, pushing your hands down into the mat, keeping everything in line, the head, the shoulders and the pelvis. Do that 3 times. And then maybe with the knee into the chest, tuck your other toes under, pull yourself back to a down dog. You can take that bent knee leg up and lower yourself smoothly down. So we're feeling out control as we start to coordinate more parts of the body together. Smooth breath. So 3 times. And then on the 4th time, start to walk your hands in. So you end up in a forward bend, a little bit of a bend in the knee. So you're feeling your hamstrings firm as you come all the way up. Lift your knee up. Find that inward curve. Lift the knee up as high as you can. And we're going to keep the raised foot relaxed. So you feel that hip flexor area contracting. See how high you can take your knee without losing the straightness to your back. Hold it there. And then see how it feels to take your leg a little bit out to the side. So notice the sensations in your hip joint. If balance feels a bit tricky, you can just use a wall, just be near a wall and turn around to do the other side. So, you know, it's not just working on the balance. If you want to focus on the hip, just get some help with the balance. And then we're going to go back the way we came. Hands down, walk ahead. And then turn to the side. So keeping both arms straight, you can reach the top leg up and circle the ankle a little bit. It's just a nice position. And of course you can have a bend in your down dog leg if you wish. Okay, and then dropping back down onto your knees. Have a moment in child's pose and let your breath settle. Okay. And then from there, let's come back into a down dog. Walk up to the top of your mat, forward bend and fold. Releasing your neck. Inhale, come all the way up, reach your arms up. Exhale, hands down, ground into the soles of your feet. Inhale, reaching up again. Exhale, folding forward. And pick up your left leg, bend and straighten a few times. And step back to the lunge. Pushing through that front foot, come up to your high lunge. And then from the high lunge, just bend your back knee down. Trying to keep your front knee over the front ankle. Just bend and straighten your back leg a little bit. So you're feeling that hip extension on the back leg. Okay, and then from there, I'm going to lean forward, grab your blocks, and hop onto your front leg. Bend your back leg up. Make sure your shoulders are more or less lined over your wrists. And then it's the similar movement of pulling your knee into your chest, pulling the leg up behind you. Watching you don't lock your standing leg. And just do that maybe 3 times. Just feeling everything controlled. Pushing the blocks away with your hands. And then with your knee in towards your chest, bend your standing leg a little bit. And again, let's come up. Feel the lower spine move in, pull your knee up. Take a couple of breaths there. So however much you want to work it, you can do the hold the knee, lift it as high as you can. Take 3 breaths. Notice the knee starts to drop a little bit. And repeat, lift it up again and hold. We're strengthening that hip flexor, which is really good for it. Okay, and then we're going to tip forward again. Hands back to the blocks. Step back. You can bring your hands to the floor. Let's just do a little side turn in there. Exhale, hands down. Step back to your plank pose and lower to the floor. Setting the legs, tilting the pelvis, your pubic bone will press down. Inhale, legs and chest up. Pull your hands towards your waist, activating all those upper back muscles. Exhale, pushing back to your down dog. And take a breath or 2. Walk back up to the top and fold forward. Okay, let's do the other side. So we're going to pick up the right leg this time. Step back to the lunge. Inhale, pushing through your front foot, high lunge. Feel the back knee as the focus dropping down. So you're staying pretty vertical and you're feeling the lengthening through the back thigh. So that's loads of hip extension. You don't really need to push into the groin really to get more length or stretch there. You can feel it all happening here. And then we're going to exhale forward, find the bricks, hop in, and then bend the back knee, and just 3 times, really pulling the knee to the chest, lifting up behind, feeling the calf and the back of the thigh squeeze together, glutes and hamstrings. Pushing the blocks away with your hands, shoulders down away from the ears, of course. And then with the knee into the chest, a little bend to your standing leg. Come all the way back up. Find the inward curve a little bit. Lift the knee up as high as you can and hold. You can play with taking the leg a little bit out to the side, feeling the different positions in your hip joint. How's that? And again, you can use the wall for this bit as well, if that's helpful. And then we're going back the way we came. So tipping forward, find your bricks again. Step back to the lunge, drop your hands down and step back to plank. And take a little pause there. So all these points, good idea to take a couple of extra breaths and notice all the things connecting, what you can feel. Dropping to the knees, lowering, pulling hands to waist as you lower. Inhaling, pull your hands back to the waist still as you lift up. Exhale, pushing back to down dog. And then we're just going to do one more variation. So this time take your right leg up behind you, high up on your left tiptoes and lunge through. I think I forgot the twist on that side. Okay, inhale, coming up, high lunge. Exhale, forward, hold your blocks, hop in. Take the back leg in and up. And this time as you go back, options, take your hands down onto the blocks or keep your hands to the waist. So you're tipping forward, feeling your hips even. You can reach the back leg out behind you. And then of the back leg, just think of dropping that hip down a little bit and pulling the thigh bone into the socket. Your standing leg is trying to roll that hip back a little bit, squeezing your outer bum. So evening up the hips as best you can. And then either hands to blocks or hands behind you, hands wide, wherever you want to explore the pose. Watching you haven't locked your knee. Ideally, you can still bend and straighten it a little bit. So there's all sorts of ways you can play around with that shape. And then when you've had enough, hands down, step back, we'll do the twist. Exhale, hands down, step back to down dog. Can always fit in a little child's pose there. And just do the other side. So left leg up, right tiptoes, lunge through. Inhale, high lunge. Exhale, reach forward. Hop in, bend your back knee. Control to come all the way up. Feel the position when you're upright, feel your chest lifting, the spine's in neutral in the standing position. Tip back, either hand straight back to the blocks, or you could hold your hips. So remember you're taking the standing leg hip back, squeezing, and then the raised leg, pull the thigh bone into the socket, drop the hip down. Arms can be out to the side, they can be forward, squeezing the bum on the back lifted leg. Don't try and look sideways, that was a bad idea. Smooth breaths there. And then when you're ready, step back and drop your hands. We'll come into the turn this side, shoulder blades down. And in all the little movements, you know, as you get to know this sequence, you can add little bits. So here you could lift the bottom hand away from the mat, and then you really feel that hip flexion in the front leg a little bit more. Top hand down. Let's step back to down dog. Exhale to plank. Lower to the floor. Inhale to a baby cobra. Exhale, push back. Take a couple of breaths and we'll drop to the knees and come into child's pose. And then coming back into your down dog, walking back up, nice relaxing forward bend, let your body sway side to side. Any of the other things you like to do in an upside down position, roll your shoulders, wobble your neck. And then from there we're going to pick up the left leg again. Step back into the lunge, and this time swivel to the side. So coming into your wide-legged position, toes a little bit turned out, and just going a little bit from side to side. And everything we've done has been quite backwards and forwards, so it's just nice to start to feel a little bit more of the leg turned out, the inner leg. Okay, have a little bit of a forward fold there. Take your hands to your waist, hip hinge all the way up. Take an exhale there, and then we'll set up for side angle pose. Front leg turns, toes pointing forward, back heel pushes away a little bit. Bending into that front knee, elbow down. Inhale, take the top arm up and over. So just taking a few breaths there, adding any movement into it that you like. It might be bending and straightening the front knee a little bit. So you're feeling what's happening in the hip joint, squeezing the bum, feel that lengthening of the inner thigh. Lovely breaths all along the top side of your body. And then we're going to rotate forward. So you let your back heel lift up. Rotate to face forward with your hips and chest. And then if that feels quite tiring already, you're really pushing your front foot into the mat, squeezing your bum. You can just take your hands down to the mat into the lunge. Or you could take both arms forward and just go up and down a little bit. And here's where you'll feel a lot of the quad work and the hip flexors together. Back thighs getting a good old lengthening out. And then when you're ready, release your hands down and hop. Come back to your forward bend. And let your breath smooth out a little bit. And then we're ready for the other side. So to do the other side, I'm just going to turn around so you can see me do the pose a little bit more clearly. So this time we're picking up the right leg, step back to the lunge, and then swivel round to this front. And just enjoy a little bit of side to side. Not going too deeply into this today, it's just like to get a little bit of external rotation in the hip joint. And then we'll hip hinge all the way up. So hands to waist, inhale, coming up. Exhaling there. Okay, other side. So turning the left toes out, back heel pushes away a little bit, and bending the front knee. Take your arm down, top arm up and over. Extended side angle pose. And taking a few breaths there, all along the top side of your body. And you're just keeping your awareness in that hip joint. It's in flexion, still that hip, but now it's externally rotating as well. So how's that feeling in your hip? Okay, and then we're going to swivel to face the edge of the mat, the end of the mat. Turning, you might need to hop in a bit, push through your front foot to get the control, and either both arms up, or you can just take the hands down to the mat. You'll still be working your legs pretty strongly. So if you're keeping your arms up, bend and straighten a few times. And the other thing to note when you're doing this is what happens to your back. It will tend to either want to round to make it a little bit easier, or it'll collapse inwards like that. So you're trying to maintain neutral spine. And the easiest way to do that is to think of your ribs drawing up in a little bit. So slightly let yourself round. It's hard work, you can hear my voice shaking by now. Exhale, hands down. And then I'm just going to go as if I was here. And step back again to your plank. So you've got the option to lower to the floor, do a baby cobra, or you might just feel like a child's pose by now. Let your hips swing a little bit side to side. And then from there, it's time to wind down a little bit. So come back to lying on your back. And just a couple of simple, really familiar things to do. Just coming to lying down with your arms wide and drop into windshield wipers. Just really slowly, so you feel this sense of dropping on the exhale. You can stay there for an extra breath, and the same to the other side. And just enjoying that contact of the body with the floor. So with each exhale, you start to feel you're grounding down, you're settling. You can close your eyes as well if you like to. And then coming back to centre, rest your hands on your tummy, just take a few breaths. Feeling that settling on the exhale. Okay, and then a nice one to end with, eye of the needle. Take your right ankle on top of the left knee, flexing the foot, and then hold behind the back of your left thigh. So you're pushing your right knee away from you a little bit, and just take a few breaths. You can rock a little bit side to side. So the gentle version is to keep your foot on the floor and just move this leg, top leg a little bit with your hands supporting the thigh. Just move it, the knee towards you and away from you. So you're feeling movement in the hip joint in a really gentle way. So wherever that works, you can take the top leg up. With each exhale, feel the breath dropping through your chest and down into your tummy. And then we'll do the other side. So it might just be moving like this a little bit. It's nice to keep one hand on your body somewhere. So as we come to winding down, just doing small things that help us to feel a sense of slowing and quietening. So having a hand there to feel the exhale dropping your body down can be good. You can hold the back of the thigh and push the lifted up front knee a little bit away from you, engaging the bum if you want to do that version. Take your leg up. And feet back to the floor, hands resting on your tummy, or one hand on your chest, one hand on your tummy, whichever feels the most grounding and quietening. So notice how your mind might be a little bit quieter now and able to focus on feeling the expansion of the inhale, moving your torso outwards. And then as you exhale, feel the back in contact with the floor, the back of the shoulders, the back of the pelvis. And you drop down. And then slowly let your body unwind into your shavasana, however you like to do it. It might be arms out to the side, legs straight. Good time to find your eye bag and any blankets. And maybe set your phone, your time on your watch so that you can stay for 5 to 10 minutes and reap all the fruits of your effort and focus of the practice, and let it all settle into your body so you feel refreshed. So I hope you enjoyed that dynamic practice, focusing a little bit on hip flexion and hip extension. If you did, I'd really appreciate if you could like this video underneath this picture, and if you could share it with anybody you know. Thanks very much.